Good morning, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be going over the 5 best gold farms that you can do in Classic WoW. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. Okay, so coming in at number 1, we have the Black Dragon Scales. Now this can be farmed up in Dusk Wallow Marsh. Now outside of Onyxia's lair is a load of Dragonkin, and they drop either rugged leather and or the Black Dragon Scales. The Black Dragon Scales in particular used in a variety of different crafting ways, such as with leatherworking you can create a load of high tier different types of items. Now people will be using this in order to raid effectively and or do high level dungeons in an effective manner, basically just making your character even better. So the things that we'll be farming will be in quite a high demand. The Black Dragon Scales in particular will determine on the pricing, such as when Classic actually balances out with all other things, but whoever gets to the Black Dragon Scales first will be able to determine a very solid price for it, and with a very low competition on the Black Dragon Scales will be quite good. Now the only issue with this is the mobs are quite high level, so make sure that you're actually able to kill them. Other than that, you shouldn't really actually have a problem. The only thing that I would recommend is primarily go as a hunter or something that can take the aggro off, such as like a warlock with his Void Walker. This is because the mobs actually hit kind of hard, and to be honest, if you pull an additional mob, you do not want to be taking on more than 2, because the majority of the time you will die. That's mainly because these mobs are kind of really strong and you will just be nuked rather fast. Along with that, obviously you will be required to use skinning. The gold per hour on this will be relatively high, as rugged leather and the Black Dragon Scales will be in quite a high demand, as it is used in a lot of crafted BOE items which will sell for a lot of gold. So you could combine this with your leatherworking and create them yourself and sell the BOEs on the auction house, but I would prefer to just sell the materials, as you can just sell them while you're farming more. Other than that, guys, let's get into number 2. Number 2, we have a fishing one, and that is the Firefin Snapper. The Firefin Snapper is used in a few alchemy professions and can also be cooked. The more to the point, it can be used to make fire oil, which is used for other different things, such as with other professions. Now the Firefin Snapper is in a relatively high demand because of it being able to be turned into fire oil, and the best place to actually farm this up is in the Stone Talon Mountains. Now the Stone Talon Mountains is a relatively simple zone in order to find a pool of somewhere, and the best place to actually farm up the Firefin Snappers is pretty much everywhere. Pretty much just find yourself a pool in a location. I have found a couple of locations, and I am putting them on the screen right now, where you can do them and not pull that many things, or you can just sit alone and just fish there without being interrupted by some random mob trying to kill you. The good thing about this farm is you can stay stationary and go semi-AFK for fishing, so you can then watch something while you're doing this and farm up gold in the meantime. The Firefin Snappers will be on a high demand due to them being able to be crafted into multiple different things, and it is, judging by what happened on the private servers with Firefin Snappers, we're looking at them to be one of the high demand fish when it comes to fishing. So obviously I'm going to showcase this in the 5 best classic farms. Now obviously fishing is one of those farms that you can use just off the bat, but you will be required to fish in the Stone Talon Mountains at around about a fishing level of around about 55. This isn't overly too hard to get to, as fishing is one of the most easiest leveling of professions that you can do, as opposed to like alchemy or something like that. Gathering professions in general are pretty easy to level up, as it only takes just a few nodes in order to get yourself up a few skill levels and all that jazz. So getting to 55 on your fishing level is pretty damn easy, and while you're doing that, you'll be able to get a lot more. Coming in at number 3, we have the copper, ore and herbs farm. Now, I did cover this in the previous video, but I want to go over it again with some routes. Now, the routes on the screen right now are for Durotar and Elwyn Forest. These are the best possible routes in order to use when you're doing this. My only suggestion is be a bit of a higher level. I would say generally around about level 15, as most of the mobs won't be able to kill you then. The way in which you do this is by picking up mining and herbalism and just going around in a circle. Now, this farm won't necessarily help you in leveling, but it will produce you with materials in order to make gold. Now, most people will be searching for the beginning stuff when trying to level their professions, such as with alchemy and blacksmithing in general. People will be wanting to buy copper ore, and the peace bloom and silver leaf. These ones will be in relatively high demand due to the fact that it gets them going on their professions. This is why I would utilize this as fast as you can possibly can and make the most amount of gold while doing this. Now, I do find this to be quite of an easy farm to do once you're at an appropriate level in order to do it. You can do it at a lower level, but be prepared to get into a lot of aggro fights with a lot of other characters, so to speak. So NPCs coming and attacking you. So I would recommend that you be a little bit more of a higher level before you start doing this, just so you don't get nuked or die or anything like that. So you can do this relatively in a peaceful way with your peace bloom. Get it? I know I'm pretty damn bad at jokes. Yeah. Other than that, it's a pretty damn good farm in order to do, and you can put those on the auction house relatively simply, and as long as you put them in stacks of like 1, 2 and 5, you will be able to get regular sales coming in almost effective immediately when it comes to making gold with your basic professions. Coming in at number 4 is a high tier farm. Now this is when you're relatively at max level, preferably. So guys, hold on to this when you are max level, start doing it. This is the Dark Runes, and this is located in the Eastern Plaguelands. The location is up on the map, and what you'll be doing is just killing endless mobs. Yes, you will be grinding like a crazy man, and try not to pull too many or you will die, because it's classic. The Dark Runes will be selling for a high amount because it is used in a lot of different professions and used to create a lot of high BOE gear for raiding. This is going to be possibly one of the most sought after items going, due to the fact that they produce some really high gear for raiding. So that being the case, why not farm up the materials that are being used, so because they'll be sold at a higher price as well. So you do not need a profession for this, you just need to be adequately geared and be at an appropriate level, preferably max, so you'll be able to take on those mobs and not die. The thing that I would recommend with this is make sure that you have some level of sustain, and make sure that your pulls are reasonable when doing this, as pretty much you pull too many, you will get nuked relatively fast. Runes will be farmed up relatively simply, and it's pretty much a pretty standard farm, so to speak. You just go over there, kill the mobs endlessly for about an hour, get a load of dark runes, get a load of different cloth and BOE greens, and you then sell all that on the auction house. Now, obviously, you won't get as many as you would if you were like max level in BFA, but obviously this is classic, so you will have to bear in mind that you won't get super mega tons, but the stuff that you do get will be in relation to classic, will be a very high gold per hour overall. So that brings me on to number 5. Number 5 is by far one of the easiest ones to do, and if you already have initial gold in order to do it, then recommended it is. Now, there are different types of vendors all over the world, and I've listed 3 which I would say would be the best for you. These vendors sell recipes. Yes, recipes. Now, located in Moonglade, we have a lovely little night elf that will sell you a load of recipes for enchanters. These are one-time things, and they reset every hour or so, or even every day. So recommended. I would suggest that you go over there, buy them, sell them, and then go back and get these. But in Moonglade there is this night elf girl, and she sells a load of recipes for enchanters. Going over to Ironforge is the safest one to do, and that is buying all of the tuxedo stuff. This comes from the tailoring supplies vendor, and most people will probably forget about this and then just buy it directly off the auction house, and then you'll be able to sell that on the auction house as well for tailors, and you'll be able to make some gold through that. Talking about Hillsbrad Foothills, we have a simple NPC to get to, but just make sure that you can dodge all of the mobs and or just get through them without dying. Obviously, Hillsbrad Foothills is not a max level area, so if you're a higher level, you're pretty much going to get through there no problem. But up the top right here on the screen, so to speak, which I'm showcasing right now, there's a vendor, and he has the chance of spawning a recipe for alchemists. This is to create frost oil. Now, frost oil is used in a variety of different types of items for frost resist gear, and or it can be used for Christmas events and all that jazz. But at the end of the day, the frost oil is a great way in order to make gold. So all you have to do is just pick up the recipe. You can either learn it yourself and create loads of frost oil and sell that on the auction house, as that will be a niche market at first, or you can sell the recipe for a high amount of gold to alchemists who haven't had it spawn for them yet, and they just want it as soon as possible, and move on from there. Talk about frost stuff. Let's go over to my bonus one, which I have literally just remembered off the top of my head, and that is called Frostguard. This is located within the Winter Spring, and on the map over here there is a vendor who will drop you one time per realm, so every day someone will have the chance of getting the Frostguard recipe, and then you can sell that on the auction house or learn it if you're a blacksmith and create the blade. Personally, I would sell the recipe and just camp an alt there just to buy this and sell it on the auction house, as the recipe will be in a high demand, as it is one recipe per server per day. This will be worth a lot of gold because most people won't be able to get a hold of it, and if you are quick on the draw on this, you'll be able to make a lot of gold relatively fast. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much all I have to say for the 5 best classic gold farms, and the last one wasn't really gold farms, but technically we're just going to vendors and buying a load of recipes. But other than that, guys, what do you think on the farms? Do you know of any other different types of farms that you would do in classic? Please post them in the comment section down below, and I will be happy to answer any of your questions going forward. Other than that, guys, have a lovely rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be on Wednesday. Have a lovely day, guys, and I shall see you soon.